Welcome to PNW Prop Stars, the only Seahawks only gambling show in the multiverse. I'm your host, Clinton Bonner. Come out and find me on Twitter at Clinton Bon. I have got the crew in with me today. The 5-time in a row champion, the moneyline rainmaker from Montana himself, Mr. Adam Emmerich in 25 degrees Fahrenheit. And of course, we've got the youngin', the Princetonian of parlays, hanging out in Princeton, New Jersey in his dorm room, Mr. Wilson Kahn. Gentlemen, we are riding high. We're 5-3. It's 3 in a row. We got to go into the desert and play a team that, frankly, things go sideways sometimes when we play the Cardinals. But we're winning. We got 3 in a row. We got 3 in a row, Wilson, as Seahawks fans. But the money line rainmaker has 5 weeks in a row as the PNW Prop Star. We said it last week. We've got to stop this. But we've got to hand the microphone to Adam and say, Adam, 5 weeks in a row, say whatever the frick you want. Just, it's yours.
All right. Well, I'm sitting here in the cold to do this. So I was wondering, is this officially a heater that I'm on? Is that what the term is? Because I could use it right now. 5 weeks in a row. To be honest, I don't think that it's anything special from my clairvoyance or anything like that. But it does feel good, and it has been fun. I know, Clinton, you had a good week yourself. It's not like everybody else has been flopping either, I mean, other than Wilson, but it's been a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to hearing what you guys got to try to take me off my throne this week. I mean, good luck.
Yeah, we'll get to the bag of tricks to see what we can do there. And as you said, though, we're not flopping. We're for the most part, for most weeks, for the most times, we're winning money here. And the whole philosophy of PNW Prop Stars was, people always say, you don't bet on your team. You don't bet your team. Bet everything else. Go bet curling for the love of betting curling. But for the love of Pete, you don't bet your team. Well, again, let's invert that. We know this team. We actually study this team as opposed to every other 31 teams out there. We care deeply about this team so we can unearth these mismatches and things. We're like, ooh, that seems like a pretty good bet. And if Vegas is off because, whatever, they can't study it all, but we've got an inside track. That's what PNW Prop Stars is all about. So if you're making some money on this, you 12s out there, then heck, hit us up. A little kickback is always encouraged. And with that, YouTube, get out there and make sure you're subscribing. YouTube.com/Seahawkers podcast. Remember, folks, this is one of 5 unique shows that go on every single week. So if you're not into the gambling show, we'd like you to give it a try. But the other stuff is always, they got previews, recaps, the flagship show, from the podium, the whole thing already. But today and here, we're here to talk about gambling. We are here to talk about gambling. So, hey, Wilson, before we do dive into this week, any words of encouragement for me or you? Like, what can we do? We got to look at a mirror, man to man in the mirror, and figure this thing out. What can we do together, man? How do we beat this guy?
Well, I chirped at Adam last week, tried take some risks, and it didn't work out. He's got the right to chirp back at me now, which I love. And I think now we just got to bide our time and, we got to build up our strength here. Hopefully, catch him blind on the blind side this week and maybe throw some chirps back.
Yeah. So we'll look at these chirps on the screen real quick. Let me collapse this. Hopefully it's not covering my face there. So once again, Adam, here's the thing, I think, guys, when I created this template, because it's just a template, because I'm not going to recreate this graphic every single time. So it's a template. I think what happened is I put Adam center square when I created the template. And I think I jinxed us, Wilson. I think, we're the jesters on the side of this court, and Adam is the king once again. And because he's sitting dead center, but Adam goes 3 for 4. I go 2 for 4. So, hey, we like to give the honors to the person who won. So it's you again, Adam. $47.50 is the profit. We do 3 bets, bet 1, bet 2, bet 3 for $10 a pop. Bet 4 is a Fail Mary $1 bet. The dollar scratcher must be 1,200 odds or longer, plus 1,200 or longer, to total 31 in honor of Bam Bam Cam Chancellor. So Adam wagered $31, but then his profit is $47.50. That's not his total. So that's a nice, hey, it's way more than doubling your money, almost 150% or so of your money. He goes 3 for 4 again. So Adam, you got 3 for 4. Are you more pissed that you didn't get all 4 with the Fail Mary? Or is there 1 or 2 that you're like, yeah, that bet, I loved it. I knew it was going to hit, ring the register.
Yeah. So on the Fail Mary, they didn't lose any of the quarters. They won 2 and they tied 2.
Yeah.
So it's not like we were far off on that one there, but also too, I kind of doubled down with the Fail Mary on my third down bet with Seattle winning both halves. Cause I just did not believe in that Giants team. And I think now that you've seen it play out, I think I'm 100% right. They are not good. They are really poor offensively. That popcorn, pop gun, stupid rinky dink college offense looked just that. It was predictable as hell. The Hawks shut him down. And I hear everybody on the national media being like, well, the Giants gave up the 2 special teams fumbles. And so they just didn't come to play. It's Giants are still good. Both catfish. They suck. The Seahawks also gave up a sure touchdown to the Giants with Tyler Lockett's fumble. The Seahawks also left an extra 4 points on the board when Tyler Lockett dropped a for sure touchdown pass. So the difference there in the gimme points really wasn't that much. And the Seahawks dominated the entire game. Like, I never felt like the Seahawks were out of control. That's why I bet Seahawks win both halves. And then you got that nice tidy profit on that, the plus 265. Stoked about that. One last little thing I'll add quickly. Gina, 1.5 TD passes, that my first down bet. This week, you don't get plus 100. It's minus 120.
Right. So they maybe Vegas has woken up a little bit is what you're saying to that particular bet. And seemingly against a potentially tougher opponent than the Giants too. So that's interesting that it slid that much. Hey, Wilson, over to you. You take a few on the chin here. I'd like you to tell us what is the bet that was your most disappointing and why is it about D. Eskridge?
Yeah, well, there's 2 ways to go with disappointing. I think you're right. D. Eskridge. Yeah. I mean, that is the one that really just bothers me because it wasn't close. To be fair, I did make the bet at a time where I didn't think DK Metcalf was going to play. Probably should have looked into that a little bit more. But considering he was carted off, I don't think it was a terrible assumption. But I think also
that quiet.
Yes,
they kept that quiet.
They kept that really quiet. But obviously, I think the most disappointing one is to take a big swing on bet number 3 there and not have it pay off. I felt pretty good about that one. I think I would have taken it at much lower odds too. So that one's definitely disappointing.
Gotcha. Well, I'll take my victory lap on the only one to say, hey, Saquon's going to be under 81.5. Now, I was intimidated by you guys live, and I regret that. I should have stood my ground more strongly. But the bet was there, and I'm happy that Saquon did very little on the ground, and that looks like a really smart bet. I'm a little pissy that I didn't flat out win this week. I'm happy to have a profit. Nobody goes broke taking a profit, right? A la Jim Cramer. But K9 had 18 rushing attempts, so that was cool to not get one more. And really pissy, the Goodwin first touchdown of the game, he dropped the first touchdown of the game. It was in his freaking hands. He had the first touchdown. He had it. It was his. He dropped it. That ended up resulting in a couple of fourth downs we had to go for. And then, of course, DK gets the first touchdown of the game. So all's well that ends well for our Seahawks. But, I mean, come on, Goodwin. Catch it was in his hands, guys. Catch the friggin' ball. But such is life in, betting in the NFL. And as we get onto this week, now we got a familiar foe. But now we got to go to the graveyard in Glendale and hopefully, knock on everything, we just stay healthy. That'd be cool. And of course, we want the 4th W in a row. This would be luscious in so many ways because of the mirror imagery of the Redbirds going to 3-6 and the blue and green birds going to 6-3. That would be super freaking cool. Super cool. So I'd love nothing more to have that happen and win some money and dethrone this freaking guy right here. Five in a row, no mo. However, Adam, it is your show. You get honors. You're at the tee box. Bet one, $10 bet. What are you betting? Why are you betting it? Why do you like it?
All right, I'm going to keep rolling my all plus odds bets
There you go.
strategy
If
here
it ain't
because
broke,
it's
if
been
it ain't
paying
broke,
off,
yeah,
right?
there you go.
And it's definitely been favorable money wise. So my first down bet is for DeAndre Hopkins to be under 80.5 receiving yards. And there's a few reasons why I like that a little bit. Number one, I love rooting against anything Cardinals, so that's fun. But secondly, they play DeAndre on the left-hand side of their offense quite a bit. He's going to be lined up on Woolen a lot. And the thing about it is that Woolen is one of the few players in the league that has the sort of size and physicality and speed to really make it difficult on DeAndre. He's not going to shut him down, but he's going to make it difficult on him. And then if you think about the way that the Cardinals play offense, if you look at it, 60% of Kyler Murray's throws last week, and this is typical for pretty much his entire career, they're all under 10 yards or less. Like it's a dink and dunk offense. And they throw a lot of 5 to 10 yard outs, little slants, things like that. Tariq can just sit on top of all of that, maybe break on a couple. It's going to be interesting, but D-Hop probably won't get that one 40-yard catch. He might have 5 receptions for 60 yards, you know what I mean? Or 8 receptions for 60 yards, but he's probably not going to get that big game breaker that people kind of think of. And especially with Tariq Woolen primarily in coverage, I like it. And I get plus 100 for that.
All right. I was going to ask what you're getting. So plus 100, under 80.5. This is the marquee matchup, right? So it's kind of cool to talk about out of the gate, like the Woolen versus D-Hop. Now it's not always going to be Woolen. They're going to move D-Hop to the slot a bit. They're going to do some things, but Adam, you're right, man. There's going to be a lot of times where it is Tariq versus D-Hop, and it's going to be quite interesting. Now, Wilson, are you on that bandwagon in general, or are you like, whoa, dude, stay away from their number one? Like there's other places to go make money.
I think at the odds, it's not terrible. I mean, this is probably Woolen's biggest test so far. Hopkins, one of the best receivers in the league. The one thing that concerns me is just the volume that he's been getting.
Yeah.
He got 13 targets in the last game. I mean, with Woolen in coverage, maybe it's more like 8 or 9. But even then, he doesn't really need to rip any big plays to break that number. That being said, I think it's more likely that he's under it than over it. I'm not sure if I would put money on it, but I think for those odds, it's, you could be putting your money in worse places.
Yeah. And Adam has been, and Adam, yes, you're definitely on a heater. I think even the graphic when you did the three-peat, I think I called it a three-peat or heater. So I don't know what happens at 5, but it's an exponential curve at this point. You're absolutely
after 5, you just win 6.
We shall see. All right. And my first bet, I think we'll have something to say about that. So I'm going to go into some data real quick. Seattle has led after the first half 7 out of 8 games so far this year. So led at New Orleans and blew that game. Led versus Atlanta, blew that game. Did not lead versus the Niners. Cool. We know how that one went. Every other game, we've led and we've won. So 7 out of 8 times we've led after the first half. Vegas wants to pay me plus 110 for Seattle to be leading at the half. Now you can't tie. That's the bust. If you tie, you're a bust. Obviously that happens a lot. Last second field goals, yada, yada, yada. Seattle up by, I don't care what, doesn't matter, up by 1. Of course, I want more as a Seahawks fan, but to win this bet, plus 110, Seattle leading at the half. We're coming out hot, man. So, hey, Wilson, why don't you, you got your first down bet, but any quick reaction what do you think, man? Do we think it's 7 out of 8? Does it keep happening, or is it time to regress to the mean?
I don't see why it shouldn't. I mean, this team has pretty much started well every single game, save the Niners game. So I like it. I think it's a good bet. For my first down bet, I'm taking actually the same odds at 110, and I'm just taking the straight money line on the Seahawks. They should be favored. I mean, again, maybe this is one of those cases where Vegas just has some kind of edge that we don't. They usually do. That's their job. We do this podcast once a week. They do it 7 days a week. So, but yeah, 110. It's hard to beat a team twice. The Seahawks, though, have done it in 2010, 2014, and 2018. So 4 years from 2018, it's now 2022. I think it's time to beat the Cardinals twice again. And Yeah, I think they're going to win this game. Straight
I
up.
like the young and throwing some patterns and math at us there, Adam. What do you think of what do you think about that? What do you think about that mathematics? 2010, 2014, 2018. It's like the Olympics, right? So the Olympics will come back around. 2022, we should win 2 in a row. What do you think? Do you think it's a sound bet that we come out of Arizona with a victory? Pretty simple bet.
You can set your Aztec calendar to that right there for sure. I think I'm with Wilson on this one just because I see this Cardinals team. I see them week in and week out, and they are a deflated team. They really don't have an identity other than Kyler throw a bunch of little stuff, maybe run around, and then just chuck up prayers. Like that's their entire offensive identity. They've got a lot of injuries on their offensive line.
Yeah.
The defense has not looked good the last couple of weeks, and I'll get to that on my second down bet here just a little bit. But I don't think Kingsbury is a very inspirational guy. And with them starting out as slow as they have, like I just don't see a lot of buy-in from the fellow players around this team. I just Murray's a terrible leader, and I think it's about time that the wheels on this bus officially fall off. And I'm betting big on that this week. I just don't believe in this team. I think Wilson's on this because my second down bet isn't much different. Did you say you get plus 110 for that? Just money line?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, my
Not
second
bad.
down bet won't be quite as exciting then because
that's okay. That's all right. Well, but I agree that this might be the Las Vegas Raiders game of last week, where the Raiders lost 24-0 to the Saints. Now it may not go that way. It's we don't know, right? We don't know, but we can sense the trajectory and the feeling, and that's what you were getting at, Adam. It wouldn't shock me if this ends up being like what the Raiders just went through, and it's like, oh, this season's done. It's cooked. There's no coming back for the Raiders now, and the Cardinals go down go to 3-6 and lose and get swept by Seattle and lose at home. It's probably sayonara. It's probably lights out, and probably Kingsbury, being let go at the end of the season, if not sooner. So a lot's on the line. They will be desperate. I still like it. I like it so much that before the 1 p.m. Eastern kickoffs last week, FanDuel had this bet up at the money line was plus 150. I bet it plus 150. I was like, this is stupid. So I already own that ticket, paying me 150. Not part of the show, but I was like, there's no such thing as free money. But at 150, I was like, yeah, I think Seattle's going to win the game, and I still do. All right, my official second down bet though, this is going with the similar vibes. We only scored 19 last time. Now there was a lot of we have 4 field goals, right? We moved the ball quite a bit, and we had a hard time converting in the red zone. We had to settle for a lot of Jason Myers field goals. And Adam, that was with chip shots. There was a lot of chip shots that game that were frustrating you. This time I could tease Seattle's over. So if they score over 26.5, take a little, Vegas is predicting 23.5 for Seattle. They get to 26.5, so 27. I'm getting paid 130. So I think Seattle eclipses 27 points. In fact, in What If we just recorded last night, I think it's about a 30-10 Seattle victory. I think we win by 9 or 10. I think we might even get to 30. I like getting paid 130. I don't think getting to 27 is too inside a great weather facility. I don't think it's too hard to see us scoring 27 points, where last time was only 19. That's just a matter of even one of those drives or 2 of them, being touchdowns and not field goals. So that's what I'm banking on. Adam, it's over to you for the it's over to Wilson for his second down bet. But Adam, do you want to any stabs at the over under? What are you thinking in general about Seattle's ability to score? How much you thinking in general?
So I have some over under thoughts on my third down bet, but
Okay.
and I have an alternate second down bet that I'm going to throw in because my original second down bet was Seattle -1 and you got plus 111. I might as well take the money line and get plus 110. So I don't like that bet now after hearing Wilson's just because he's on the same wavelength but better. I think Vegas has been completely off on this team for this game, and I think it has a lot to do with I don't know that they believe that we're going to score like we have been scoring against all the other teams. And like you said, it was 19 points the first time we played them, but that was a game in which the Cardinals pass rush went off. And I just, that feels like a fluke. I don't feel like that's going to happen again. I think this offensive line will hold their own a lot better. And if that's the case, then yeah, I think they'll put up 27 points, man.
All right. I like it. All right, Wilson, you are up on your second down bet. What you got?
I'm taking Kyler Murray under 261.5 passing yards. You have to pay a little bit at minus 115. Murray has only broken 250 passing yards once in the last 5 weeks. Now, he did last week with Hopkins back, but that was against a Minnesota team that I feel is a little bit suspect on defense. They're 21st in DVOA right now. Our Seahawks, by the way, are 11th, which I was surprised to see, really moving up. And, with the knowledge of, we've played Kyler quite a few times now. I think we know how to keep him in check. And 261.5 is a big number. He beat us on his legs last time, 100 yards rushing. So that's a possibility, but through the air, I just don't see that kind of yardage for him. Especially, I think Brown is still out too, if I'm not mistaken. So Hopkins and who else? Rondale Moore, maybe he shows up for 3 catches. I just don't see the big air raid possibilities for Murray right now.
Yeah, and what about Robbie Anderson, right, being back in the fold? But did he do anything last week? I didn't see if he, like they got him involved or if he had a lot of snaps. But now a few weeks in, listen, Rondale, D-Hop being there to me frees up Rondale quite a bit. I think that's what we saw last week. But 261 still a pretty big number. I don't love the bet because I think they might be playing catch up ball. I think we're gonna get out to a little bit of a lead, and then they're gonna have to throw more, which you could end up with some garbage time throttling of that. But it's I hope. Actually, I wouldn't care if they go over. And no offense to your bet, but if Murray throws for 290, but because they're playing catch up ball and yards don't matter, who really cares? But I hope it works out for you, dude, because we got to take Adam down. Adam, second down bet. So did you go money line? Is that what you're switching to? Just money line straight up?
No. I have a completely different bet, just as a backup one, just in case.
Gotcha.
So my second down bet is for Jason Myers to have over 6.5 total kicking points.
Mm-hmm.
So however the heck he gets there, extra points or field goals, it seems like he could easily have 2 field goals and an extra point, or 3 extra points and 2 field goals. Like, it's just the Seahawks are going to score in this game. I feel that very strong. I don't think they're going to get held to another 19-point affair. And so for that, I do have to pay for it, though. Minus 140.
Minus 140, 140?
Yep.
Oh, he's breaking his own rules here. Well, not so much rules.
Well, no, I mean, I had
trends. It's trends.
One, but, it was basically a copycat bet for one that was actually a little bit better. So
yeah, gotcha. But staying true to your love for kicker props, right? They've treated you for the most part treated you well.
Kickers are easy money, man. Like, if you don't pick long stuff for them to have to make under pressure, like everything else, their kickers these days are relatively automatic. And if your team is pretty good at moving the ball up and down the field, as the Seahawks are, then you're probably gonna, do pretty well on kicker props. That's my thought.
Right? And Vegas agrees with you on that one. And that's one I will be championing and cheering for. All right, Wilson, you're up on to the first third down bet. What do you got for third down and why?
Well, let me say first about Adam's bet. I got a tidbit for you there too. I caught on the Seahawks Instagram today. Jason Myers has the most points of anyone in the NFL this year. He has 72 points. That's 9 a game. So he doesn't even have to get close to his average, and you win that bet. So I really like that one, even though you have to pay a little bit. I'm kind of in a similar vein of thinking here in terms of the Seahawks scoring a lot more than they did the last time against the Cardinals. I think only put up 19. That's 5 scores. That's almost as low as you can get with 5 scores. So I thought about going for the point bands for the Seahawks today, 21-30, which I feel like is probably more likely than what I'm actually betting, 31-40. But for the 21-30 band, it's plus 140, and for the 31-40, it's plus 340. And I want to get paid if I win. So I'm going for 31-40. Third down, I kind of, this is my own rule now. I'm just gonna start going like 300 and above So this is the second week of me doing that now. And yeah, it's going to be plus 340 for 31 to 40 points for the Seahawks.
It's aggressive. I like it. You're getting paid handsomely. Certainly not unreasonable, right? Would any of us be shocked if Seattle, settles into a 33-point game here, 31-point game? I wouldn't be shocked. It's a lot. I don't expect them to be that high, nor does Vegas, but it wouldn't be like, it's not improbable. Let's put it that way, in my opinion. Adam, you're up on your third down bet, but you feeling, I like those band bets. You got to land it. It's kind of fun, a little game of horseshoes. But if you were thinking, are you in that 21 to 30, or do you think Wilson's got the right groove to be in that 31 to 40?
Yeah, I think he is in a pretty good groove there, because if you would have just asked me out of the blue to come up with my what's most likely band for where the Seahawks land in this game, be somewhere between 27 and 35 points. That's how I feel about this offense going in. The defense and their secondary is banged up a little bit. Buda Baker didn't even practice yesterday.
Right.
So we'll see how that secondary performs. And again, I think this Seahawks offensive line is going to be much improved in protection. And then you also saw the Vikings in this last game that they played against the Cardinals. They got to the edge in the run game a ton. If the Seahawks do that, it's curtains for the Cardinals. Like Ken Walker would have himself a day. So yeah, man, I think the Seahawks probably do score quite a bit in this game.
I like it. All right. So for your third down bet, what are you drilling on? What do you got?
All right. I got a parlay for you boys today.
Ooh.
So I was with Wilson's thought process here on the money line. So Seahawks money line, but the total under 49.5. Now, I just said I think the Seahawks are going to score a lot of points. So why would I bet under on that? Because I don't think the Cardinals are going to score much. I really don't. Their offensive line is an injured mess right now. And you have seen the Seahawks find the formula for their pass rush in the last 3 games. And I think that continues. I think that they're going to squat on all those receivers, on all those stupid little short routes, and going to make Kyler hold the ball a little bit more. Seahawks will continue their little muddle rush and everything. The Cardinals scored 9 points last time that we played them. I don't know that they break that this game. I really don't. So I definitely think the Seahawks are winning. I definitely think they're going to score a lot of points, but Cardinals won't. Otherwise, I would have taken the over.
Yep. And what do you
I
paid?
get plus 230 for that. So not quite the Wilson 300.
No, not the Will. That's going to ring to it. The Wilson 300. That's nice though. That's nice. I too, when I took the 150 the other day, when the money line was there, the over under was sitting at like 51 or 50.5. That's moved down a little bit, but just in general, I was like 50.5. I was like 30. It seems like a lot. It seems like a lot. So I too like the under. Although my prediction for the game was 30 to 20 with some garbage time for the Cardinals, that would scare me. I think that under hits. So I do like that bet. In the similar vein, I found this one pretty interesting. This one's paying me 145, which is pretty spicy meatball. Arizona under 3 touchdowns. Now there could be any touchdowns, whatever it is. So 2.5 or under. So if we keep the Cardinals out of the end zone, just less than 3 times, I'm being paid 145. Vegas expects them to have more than 3. I don't. I'm not. I know D-Hop matters, so not discounting that. At some point in the season, fellas, we're gonna stop giving teams the ball on like our 2-yard line. At some point. Or just in the end zone, right? At some point that will stop. It ought to, right? So, and I'm really hoping that this is the week where we don't put on a silver platter 6 friggin' points in one shape or form. So I'm banking on that and being like, all right, well then they've got to put together probably some fairly long drives here, because we've been really good about protecting the ball otherwise. I don't think they're scoring 3 touchdowns. I mean, obviously, Adam, you already stated the same very clearly. So Wilson, that's the bet. Do you think Arizona gets in the end zone more than 2 times?
Absolutely not. And that has something to do with my Fail Mary too. So we'll get to
Right.
that.
Nice. Okay. So we're through our three. We'll get to our dollar scratcher, our Sunday scratcher. A reminder, it's the Fail Mary plus 1,200 odds or longer. And that means we go back to the top. Honors is Adams 5 weeks in a row. Adams hit two Fail Marys now out of 8 weeks. Still the best out of all of us. Wilson has hit it once, and I am 0 for 8. I'm going to try and change that this week, but I know, right? Shame on me. Adam, you're up first. What is your Fail Mary du jour for week number 9?
So my Fail Mary is my hedge against all my other bets for this week, because
Oh.
what if I am grossly wrong about the Cards offense sucking balls this weekend? So this is kind of my hedge against that.
He's diversifying, Wilson. He's diversifying. Let's hear it.
Yeah. So the Seahawks have proven all year long that, they put up points very consistently. There's a outside chance that the Cardinals do too. So my bet is each team scores a touchdown and a field goal in each half.
Okay.
And that is plus 1,400. And kind of the, contrary reason that I went with this as opposed to everything else that I've said on this pod. The Seahawks have scored 20 or more points 5 times this year. The Cardinals have also scored 20 or more points this year. And then on top of all that, the Cardinals have given up 34 points in their last 2 games each, 34 points per game. Their defense is wrung out. So the Seahawks are definitely going to score. This is just in case somehow the Cardinals manage to put together a good offensive performance.
My prediction was 30-20. So like that's, then you got to get it in the 2 halves. They got to be balanced like that, but still, I think the Cardinals can get to 19-20, and that's, I do see them landing kind of there. So yeah, I think Seattle gets there. Of course, it might just be like, hey, we're better in the red zone this week, and ta-da, less field goals. Of course that could happen, but at plus 1,400, it's pretty simple. I like when a Fail Mary can be simple, because they can be hard to find at plus 1,200 or over. So on mine, it gets a little convoluted. I've got a 5-way parlay. Bear with me. All right. Arizona under 22.5. Okay. We've already talked about that. I'm kind of making that bet with kind of saddles up with my 3rd down bet there. So under 22.5. Seattle over 3.5 touchdowns. So turn on the juice. Then I got Seattle winning both halves. Kyler under 329.5 yards passing. I like that one. And then we haven't said his name yet today, really. K9 over 80 yards rushing. So I know that's a lot. Arizona under 22.5. Seattle got to score 4 touchdowns. Seattle's got to win both halves. Kyler under 329.5. K9 over 80 yards rushing. It only pays 1,200. I was fiddling with this frigid thing, trying to get to something. I got there. I don't love it, but it's $1, so who the hell cares? Best way I could frame it. It's a lot's got to happen, but it can. But all right, Wilson, what do you got cooking for your Fail Mary?
Well, I was struggling around with the parlays too a little bit, so I decided to go in a direction that I don't think anyone's done on the podcast yet this year, which is the DK squares.
Oh yeah.
And that's not for DK Metcalf, it's for DraftKings. And if you've played squares before, basically how it works is you put a bet on the end of the last number of both teams' score for either a quarter or a game. So let's say the first quarter ends Seahawks 21, Cardinals 0, and you had Seahawks 1 and Cardinals 0, the square for that quarter, you'd win your bet because the Seahawks score ended with 1 and the Cardinals was 0. So I took this week, and this is a Fail Mary for any quarter. I just need this DK square to hit, which is Seahawks 7 and Cardinals 6. Wow. And I believe, let me double check. I believe that's at 1,400 plus 1,400. Yes. So the reason I took that is, what does it mean when your score ends in 7? More often than not, you're scoring touchdowns. I think the Seahawks are going to score touchdowns on offense. And when your score ends in 6, you're kicking field goals because you got 6 or maybe you got 16. That's a number I really like for the Cardinals to score in this game. And then the Seahawks, if you got 7, you got 7, 17, 27. Maybe a little pseudoscientific there. Random things can happen. You miss an extra point, you get a safety, things like that.
Sure.
But when I in a week where I was otherwise struggling to get a parlay that I liked. I thought I'd give this a try. So
Yeah, and the DK squares are, Adam, you brought them up the other day, be like, what the hell are they? Like, it's like, I don't like squares. And then we explained it. But I think, any quarter 7-6, well, you're picking some football numbers there, right? It's not like 2 and
Yeah.
5. So
yeah,
put it this way, if you entered a Super Bowl square thing, you do a 50-50 raffle, and if you got the number 7 and 6, you'd be like, cool, I got good numbers. You have you're in it, you got a shot, right? So that's pretty cool. I like the fact that we're throwing a new type of bet out there. It's our first timer, so it's all good.
Yeah. So just so that I understand, because I'm a simpleton, basically in any quarter of the game, if the Seahawks score ends in a 7 and the Cardinals score ends in a 6, Wilson hits.
correct.
Okay, cool. All right. Yeah, I mean, those are, like you said, Clinton, good numbers.
Yeah.
I'm just not a big fan of the like the even odd bets or the we bet on, like, it's almost like roulette, just kind of like, well, okay, either it does or it doesn't. So yeah, it's fine, but it's a Hail Mary, man. So I think that's as good a chance as any. Clinton, with yours, not that I hate all of the different things that have to happen in terms of if you genuinely believe the Seahawks are going to dominate this game, but I think anytime you get past about 3 things you need to have happen,
it gets tough.
I mean, yeah, it just gets so hard, and you just have to have one weird thing not go your way. Just anything much past that, I get uncomfortable. So that's why I generally try to stick to the simpler ones. But I don't know, boys. Maybe this is the week that you guys put one together. I don't think you can end the heater train, but good luck.
Yeah. And I was struggling with compiling those. I'm like, come on, something get me to freaking 1,200, because I couldn't find something I liked, and there weren't that many props. Like, by the way, we're using DraftKings this week because they put the props out earlier than FanDuel. There weren't like there was no receiving props for any Seahawks, right? So there was a lot of stuff that, like, there was no tight ends you could bet on. I love tight end stuff. Nothing there besides Zach Ertz, and I'm like, I took Ertz last time. I wanted to go with it. So I was doing this, but what you just reminded me of was, I don't know if you guys saw, there was a dude last week, I'm assuming it's a dude, who had a 17 game parlay, and game's the wrong term, but it was a 17 person parlay that throughout all of Sunday, because I forget if the game was Sunday night or Monday night, I think it was the Monday night game, he hit 16 of 17. So he had a bet for $7.77, and it was paying something like $126,000 if he hit it.
Oh no!
His 17th bet was Joe Mixon over on rushing. Whatever, I think that was the Monday night game, and the Bengals went out and farted, basically. Farted. It was like over 62.5 yards rushing. A $7.77 bet to win well over $125,000. And Joe Mixon diarrhea down his leg for 4 quarters with the Bengals. Imagine that. Yeah, right. It's like, Wilson, I could sense the disgust in your soul with that one.
Breaks my heart.
Yeah. So here we are, just betting $31, and but to your point, Adam, compiling those things can be difficult. And here's this poor dude who, because I know me, if I'm 16 for 17, I'm doing one of 2 things. I'm like locking myself in a room and I want to talk to nobody, or I'm going baller. I'm throwing a party for that game. So I wonder what that guy did. I wonder if he like, come on, let's get together. And then by the time the first quarter's over, and the thing was, Mixon, I think in the first drive had like 4 attempts and like 12 yards. It wasn't like great, but it was like, oh, they're feeding him. And it just dissipated.
And then they weren't.
And then they got behind by 25 points to Jacoby Brissett.
To the Browns. Yeah. Oh my gosh. And that's just NFL gambling in a nutshell, right? Hence we keep it, hey, do what you want with your money. I'm not here to govern you. But I personally don't put much on it. It's more for the fun, the juice, and this whole show is more for the analysis and then the coolness that comes out with these little conversations. So we were asked to recap our bets last week. I will do it again. Let's see. I need an O2 container for this one. We start with Adam. So his first bet is D-Hop under 80.5 receiving yards, paying plus 100. Going across, his second down bet, Myers 6.5 points or more in the kicking game, paying 140 to get that. His third down bet, I believe it was Seattle money line under 49.5, paying him 230. And then his Fail Mary dollar scratcher, touchdown field goal, each team, each half, plus 1,400. Okay, for me, Seattle money line. Nope, that is Wilson. Hold on one second. Seattle money line. Yeah, I'm like, wait a sec. All right, he's got the Seattle. Wait a second. I think I wrote down the wrong places. It's okay. Me, I've got, what the hell did I bet first, boys? Okay, I took Seattle. Oh, that's right. Seattle money line at the half. That's what it was. Okay.
Yes.
Seattle winning at the half, plus 110, similar to Wilson's bet you'll hear in a second. Second down bet, Seattle over 26.5 points total, plus 130. Third down bets, Arizona under 2.5 touchdowns. So 3 touchdowns or less and I win, plus 145. Mind you, I am plus all across the board because I want to get those good Adam vibes going. Then I've got that long Fail Mary. I'm not going to repeat it. Go rewind and watch it. It's there. Wilson money line plus 110. Seattle wins plus 110. Murray under 261.5 yards at minus 115. Then he's got the old Band-Aid here, 31-40. So if Seattle scores between 31 and 40 points, he's at plus 340. And then his Fail Mary is anytime the score ends in a 7 for Seattle or a 6 for the Cardinals, the DK squares, 7 and 6, he's at plus 1,400 any quarter. So again, that might mean 27-16 final score. And then Wilson, because the 7 and 6 are the last numbers there, or 7-6 at the end of the first quarter, Seattle over Arizona. And then he's in the money plus 1,400. That's the recap. I'm going to make a declaration, Adam. You're going down, O'Doyle. You're going down this week.
Okay, then, big buddy.
I'm recapping
Yeah, you just keep
it.
thinking that, man. When you win, finally, maybe ever, I don't know.
My.
I'll take you seriously. But up until then, until I'm done dominating your ass, I guess that's all you can do is just chirp a little bit.
We'll chirp.
Kind of like a lot of the Cards fans. Oh wait, there aren't any Cards fans. I did have one actual betting question for you guys for this week, because sure. I found this to be fascinating, and maybe I don't know exactly where Vegas's head's at with this. So the line I saw was basically Cards given 2, right?
Yep.
Which is a little less than the traditional home field advantage that they give people. But I mean, still, well, how in the world are the Seahawks not favored in this game? Like, how? I mean, is it because Vegas doesn't think the Seahawks are good? Or is it more that the public doesn't think that the Seahawks are good? And so Vegas trying to get people to bet like this, these are the odds they have to come up on. Like, I'm just confused by that. I was stunned to see that the Seahawks were not favored in this game, even being on the road.
I'm opening up FanDuel to see, because sometimes they'll show you where they have stats that come out about the bets themselves. They might not be out yet, but I'm going to check in real time to see if it is, because it will show you where's the money going.
DraftKings showed basically 2/3 of money was being put on the Seahawks in terms of the spread and line.
Okay,
so the people agree. They're with you, 2/3. And I'm shocked it's even that little.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. Wilson, do you have a theory? Is it what do you have a theory? I'll just ask it. What do you think?
I'll think probably number one, it's hard to beat a divisional opponent twice. I think that might be part of it. Hopkins is back. I don't know. I think it's hard to say for sure. I mean, the Seahawks are favored in the sense that the Cardinals aren't getting the traditional toss up -3, but I agree. If I wasn't trying to make money and predict if I wasn't Vegas and trying to make money off people and just predict what I thought the spread would be every week, I wouldn't put it at +2. As it wouldn't be allowed on this podcast. So
true fact. What did we think about just ending with the vibes of a continuing a great season? Adam, anything for the folks out there? You always have a way with words to let people know what should they be doing if they're making money off of this show, Adam. If they're listening, wagering, making some shkadol, what should the good people do to raise the hawkra?
Well, if you guys know me at all, you know that maybe my number one driving tenet is that I believe in freedom. The Seahawkers podcast is about freedom, America, and everything that's good. So if you're making money off of your bets because you have the freedom to do it, I also believe that you have the freedom to do whatever you would like with that money that you make. Mm-hmm. Now, with that said, I have a humble request. The humble request goes a little like this, and that's just the value for value model. We talk about it all the time. Hey, just giving you value? Are these 17,000 shows we're putting out a week giving you value? You bet your sweet ass it is. So, maybe shove a little value back our way. And here's the thing. That was a nice guilt trip, but I think I need to give out some credit because I got a text from Brandon, not just, but an hour before we got on the podcast. And he said this week that you guys getting in the flock, making donations, super chats, things of that nature. Big week. And all I can say is thank you, man. I thank you for Clinton. I thank you on behalf of Wilson as well, and Brandon, and Phil, and everybody. We are so grateful, and thank you for letting us do this for you guys and put out this value for value model that is working because you guys get it, and you guys are just amazing. The 12s are amazing, and you've made the Hawker of this season even higher than it's ever been.
With that,
there's only one thing left to say.
Go Hawks.
Go Hawks.
Go Hawks.